Cool. Awesome. Okay. So my question that I want to ask you,
Hmm.
pulled up my thing, and I'm like, no way. When you were talking, I got inspired by a new question. Is
Oh,
that
perfect.
at what age did you become conscious? Did you actually like notice like the world around you or like realize that you're not the center of the universe?
Oh,
That
yeah.
at what age did you become
Oh,
conscious of like things, of people, of I don't know. Does that
I think throughout the years, different levels. I know my 2 years of theater school were a huge eye opener of just becoming conscious of people's energies and how that affects me, which are like, people say empath. Some people think that's like foo-foo or whatever, but like I truly get really impacted by people's energies and I didn't know how to guard it. Really, I'd say in the last like 8 months, ever since I got into meditation and more journaling and reading about this, reading about energies, reading about business success, all like people that really inspire me, and how it all began like in their mind with conscious thinking, with intention. Um, and yeah, the biggest thing for me has been meditation, honestly, as well as um, gratitude practices for changing my internal state. But yeah, meditation has really made me realize a lot about society and things I'm doing in my life and people around me. And the more I practice and the more I do it, the more I transcend myself, the more I can see. It's like a blindfold off and another blindfold off and another blindfold off. And it's not a quick fix. But yeah, I'd say probably in the last 8 months, really have I started to like become conscious and of myself, my own patterns holding me back, and in working through those, other people's patterns, where their energy's at, um, and just society in general, and making decisions in line with that. Like if I am listening to my intuition, which I've always had, but I didn't always listen to it. And the more I've been able to be grounded and centered in myself and take the fear, because fear is just noise, a distraction, which we can talk about again in another episode, because fear actually holds us back from our intuition. If sometimes we'll have an intuition of I shouldn't do that, and then other times you'll have a fear of I shouldn't do that. Listening to the fear is not always helpful, but listening to the intuition usually is in your best interest, in my experience. Yeah, so that's what I would say. How about yourself?
Mm, I think the first time I actually became aware of that I became conscious, I think I was perhaps 6 years old, but
Oh,
at a
wow.
at a different level, because
Yeah.
I heard you very well when you said that you have been conscious throughout throughout various stages of your life, and that the most impact that you've actually become super conscious is in the last 8 months. So,
I know
um,
I still have a lot to go, but it's practicing every day, every day, every day, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I guess.
Especially
Hmm, yeah, go.
especially when things come up. And there's a healthy way to do this, and then there's an unhealthy way. So this is another thing that I've recently learned: emotional patterns. Sometimes we feel that emotional pain, and we want to numb it with, it could be alcohol, drugs, sex, whatever satiation it is for you. Um, but that only, it stops the pattern, and or stops, it just hides the feeling. It's like a band-aid. And somebody told me the analogy, it's like when you become sober again or whatever, or like move through it, then the feeling comes up even stronger because it's like coming off of an anesthetic. And so the only way to really move through it and transcend it and come out the other end positive is to not numb it, but just move through the emotion so it can finish the emotional pattern. It's not going to go away till you finish the emotional pattern. So the more you push it down, or some people like to say the more you resist, the more it persists. So yeah, sorry. I was having this conversation the other day and I thought I'd throw that in there because it was really eye-opening for me. I'm like, oh, whoa. So if I go out or like eat chocolate or have some wine, like it's not going to go away. No, it will for the moment, but then it'll come stronger. But then you can transcend it, which is when like bliss comes in and all this, like feeling of joy and freedom and peace. And that is not the same as pleasure. It's very different. Not say pleasure is bad, but when we use it as a constant cover up for something that we don't want to deal with, it can become very destructive.